Good evening and welcome to The Insight. My name is Emmanuel Ouma, where we dive into the political discourse that is in the country. And today I'm joined by Ambassador Esther Waringa, who wants, by the way, to be president. Ambassador, thank you so much for making time for us.
Thank you.
And Mr. Dowidi will be joining us later in this show to have a discussion of the same. Mr. Esther, let me begin with you.
Madam Esther.
Madam Esther, yeah, thank you so much for that correction.
Okay.
In February of this month, you had a conversation with a group of leaders and you told them that if elected, you will do away with the general election.
Yes.
Are you preparing to be president for life?
Thank you very much. It's not about preparing myself to be president for life. It's about checking on our electoral systems and what can work well towards sustainable development in the Republic of Kenya. Because for once we've had general elections since the time we were born, since Kenya gains its own internal self-independence, we have been riding on electoral processes to be able to birth leadership in the Republic of Kenya. But the biggest question is, how competent are these leaders? Are they on merit? Do they come into office through merit, or is it through only the power of majority vote? And we ask ourselves, does the power of majority vote qualify one to have the brain that we need to be able to pass laws in this country that can benefit the people of Kenya? Secondly, it's about also general elections. How much will go into general elections 2027? How much did we spend in general elections 2022? How much does that translate into sustainable development? Since independence time, my brother, we've been talking about Turkana. Until now, women are seated at the trees waiting for Kenya Red Cross to bring them food. Not again. So if we are able to save a coin in this country that will be able to go towards development of the country, then we'll be good to go. The other thing is that we are known and we are all over celebrated, not really celebrated, but we are known, information is out there that Kenya holds one of the most expensive elections in the region. So, and I ask myself, the 10 billion plus, the 100 billion plus that goes into general elections, why don't we channel that money to go and ensure that we have sustainable irrigation systems in Turkana? Why don't we use the same money to ensure that we have adequate infrastructure development in the schools? Because we usually spend more than 100 billion shillings in every elections, and then we fight. President Uhuru once said that Kenya usually takes 2 years before we achieve economic stability again after elections. And after these 2 years is when again the country is preparing for the next elections. So it's like we eat elections, we drink elections, we sleep elections, we think elections. Everything is elections in this country. So the reason why I've been bringing the Kenya Bila Uchaguzi bill is so that we take a break from elections. We focus the country on sustainable development.
So how do you want Kenyans to get leaders now that you want to do away with the elections?
Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. I want
especially taking into consideration that Kenya is a democratic country.
Very well. What has a beginning has an end. I think we are not told that one day democracy will not come to an end. I think I salute and I appreciate the power of Gen Zs. This is power that can bring the most transformative governance revolution in the country. I'm not saying that I'm a Gen Z, but I'm bringing the most transformative governance agenda for Kenya. How are we going to do it? Number one, what do we need? Who do we need to serve in the public service? People who merit, people who qualify, people of integrity, people who can be basically vetted and appointed into leadership. And in corporations today, at Safaricom or any other corporation in the country, Equity and any other setup, even here at GBS, how do you come into position of being a journalist? You are vetted and appointed depending on your capability, your merit, and your capacity to deliver. So we are going to form what the Kenya Bila Uchaguzi bill states. You asked me why. That's why that's what I'm responding. Because we are going to form a governance commission that will be vetting and appointing all state officers in the Republic of Kenya. Now
you realize that before you before you be allowed to run for any elective seat in the country, you're vetted by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. And everyone who has been vetted is qualified, right?
Why? Yes. Why then do we vet and then we subject them to elections, which is very expensive, election process which is very divisive, election process which is very tribalistic, election process which is very violent, including taking President Uhuru Kenyatta and Ruto and Raila to the ICC. Why? Our electoral process. So, electoral process has lost its value. I know I'm vying for president, but the most important thing and key agenda in my presidential agenda is to eliminate elections. Kenya bila uchaguzi. And Kenyans will be very happy to have a country where we vet and appoint leaders. And when they make mistake, we give you the first letter, warning letter. You continue again serving the people the way you want, not what the constitution states. We give you another second warning letter. The third warning letter, we are sending you home. Today, the system, the electoral system that we have, we talk about impeachment processes that take, like for the governors, they take the senators the whole time, the whole resources, the whole thinking, and the whole time that they're supposed to be discussing development of the country. They are discussing impeachment of only one person. Come on, this is not the reason why Kenyans pay taxes. Kenyans don't pay taxes so that...
I would like to ask you something.
Let me finish that one. Kenyans don't pay taxes so that we can have a Senate that is discussing impeachment process throughout a term period. Kenyans pay taxes so that they can get water, education, agriculture, energy, and all that.
How many impeachments have the Senate discussed this year?
Okay, there are several, and even now others are underway. I think the governor of Isiolo, somebody has been impeached. So we are not yet through the impeachment processes. For how long is Senate going to continue discussing impeachment processes?
No, that's
away from that, let me also answer you something that will make Kenyans understand the Kenya bila uchaguzi process. The judiciary, from the Chief Justice to the magistrates, nobody is elected. We have never seen a Chief Justice, President of the Judiciary, campaigning in this country. Yet the judiciary is one of the most powerful and progressive arms of government. But for the legislature and for the executive, we run across the whole country, cheating people, telling them we are bringing the Indian Ocean to Mount Kenya. Come on, let me finish. This is very, very, very serious. The legislature and the executive, these two organs are elected, but the judiciary that performs is not elected. So, and these two organs, the executive and the legislature, use a lot of money to campaign. How much money did any presidential candidate spend in this country?
But they're their own money.
Today,
if their own money, right?
If Gen Zs are told to run for members of parliament and the others, and some of them have just come from universities, where are they going to get the 10 million to run for an MCA? Where are they going to get the 10 million, 20 million, 50 million to run for members of parliament? Systems that cannot bring those with brains into leadership. Our systems have only been bringing those people who have the power of money and have the power of negative influence into leadership. And that is where we are as a country. That is why we are complaining every day. And that is why our Gen Zs are in the streets, because of our poor systems of budding leadership in this country.
So I want to get this.
Yes.
You are elected into the office of the president. You do away with elections. Will you be president for life, dictator-in-chief?
Wow. Number one, I'll be proud, very proud, to have done away with elections in this country. Number two, I will have done my country pride, I'll have brought pride to our country, Kenya. And that's why it's called the pride of Africa, because we are going to birth the first system of government that is bringing a non-elected leadership into place. Why am I saying that? Because 2018, I presented a paper in Abuja, Nigeria, where we had a governance summit for the continent. And the paper that I presented during my speech in Abuja is that African governments can be able to be managed without general elections. When I finished, the team from Nigeria told me, Madam Esther, can we first of all introduce Nigeria without elections before you go to do it in Kenya? That's how much Africa needs to do away with elections and to change to a system that will be able to birth governments who are vetted and appointed, who merit and have the capacity to deliver.
Here's what I don't get, because
Yes.
Kenya goes to election after every 5 years.
Yes.
So if you're elected today, let's say the next election,
Yes.
Kenya should go and elect their leaders in the next 5 years. So will you vacate, leave.
Or, okay, it's not about me, actually. I must say that one. It's not about me. It's about, and of course, we are going to have one thing. It's not about me. It's about change of system. It's not about the individual.
And you realize before you do that, you need to actually change the constitution.
Definitely. Once I get into leadership, first thing, I start introducing the Kenya Bila Uchaguzi Bill, which actually, as we talk with you right now, is on the table of IEBC. The IEBC has the Kenya Bila Uchaguzi Bill copy. It's only that right now, everything is focused on general elections 2027. And that is why I'm riding on these current elections to be able to rise up to be the 6th head of state and government in the Republic of Kenya. So when I take over as president, I will now be able to initialize the Kenya Bila Uchaguzi Bill as a government bill in the National Assembly. And I am not in the National Assembly. Yes, in the National Assembly, but yes, equally, it will be a popular initiative bill. It must go to the 47 county assemblies. And then after that, it will be subjected to a referendum. And I am sure the people of Kenya, how many are saying, I want to see Tamka tena? Have I not heard people saying, we woke up so early, and now the waking up so early has brought us problems? So, what are we saying? We are saying that a time has come for us to change the systems. A time has come for us to re-evaluate the system. A time has come for us to audit the electoral system. Is it working? I can't wait to meet Mr. Ethicon and his commission to explain to them how, in their reign in office, they can be able to leave a legacy by making sure that they help me carry out a very sovereign referendum that will be able to eliminate general elections in the Republic of Kenya. And why now I will be I can be, or I would want to be the first president to be able to govern, to govern through such a system is because I have in mind, it's kind of born in me. I don't have to look for it. It's born in me. How Kenya can be able to be governed without elections? I think that's quite impossible. Eh? Yes, it is already in me. It's inborn. How Kenya can be able to govern without elections? I know people would say there are other countries that, like we have monarchy governments, and other Scandinavian nations that don't do elections. But this is a very unique system.
They do elections. Scandinavian countries have elections.
Yes, some of them. Yeah, monarchy. Yeah, it's about kingship. But this is a very pure one. It's a very unique one because we call it a public service system of government where people are vetted to serve the public service based on capacity, based on merit, based on integrity, accountability, and all the virtues, progressive values that we have inculcated in our constitution.
I want to move this conversation forward. Okay. There's something that you've said that you want to reduce government expenditures, and one of your proposals is to reduce the VAT from 16% to 10%. And I'm wondering, how will you cover government expenditure if you reduce taxation and what have you? How will you deal with that?
Very well. Number one, yes.
Because taking into consideration that even currently we have a budget deficit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very well.
Sorry for that.
Sorry for that. Number one, I'm totally committed to reduce the government expenditure. One, we are aware that as a country, we are running the country on excesses, what we call opulence. That you will find a minister with several cars behind him and a few ahead of him. Why don't we have just only one car escorting a minister? This is what I'm talking about, cutting on government expenditure. Number two, we are overrepresented as a country. And I thank the Kenya Bila Uchaguzi Bill that will come to bring to an end all elective offices. Because the biggest budget of this country, did you see Gen Z's ban in parliament? It was not a good thing, but they were communicating strongly. These people take all the money that is meant for development, from allowances to the heavy machineries, German machineries, to the heavy salaries, to the heavy sitting allowances, to the heavy trips, heavy benchmarking, name it. So you realize that we are wasting so much money as an economy. So we are going to introduce a system that will be able to reduce on representation.
How?
One, the Constitution of Kenya, 2010, allows any Kenyan to bring a motion or a referendum or a bill that will be able to introduce a system of government that can be able to reduce on the number of elected representatives or the people serving government. One, that also affects the structure of government. Therefore, it must be subjected to a popular initiative bill, and after that now it goes into a referendum. So for example, my dear women, I love women, they're good to me, I'm a woman and I'm forming the first woman-led government, but what is the job description of women representatives? Now, not looking from a woman perspective, but from a very, very informed thinking about the country's expenditure, about national development, about fiscal management of government funds. So what is the office? What is the job description of the office of a woman representative? We can fix them in other progressive positions, but in this one that is taking so much money, a woman rep, they have their salaries, of course, they have their CDF kitty, they have their development kitty, and many other. You see why? Then MCA. Now they are demanding the ward kitty.
What development fund? What
development fund, thank you. But what do we see at the county assembly most of the time? The seats have no peace at the county assemblies. VT. They are taking the seats, throwing at each other, even water. At some county assemblies, water bottles, yeah? So what is the mandate? What is the key mandate of the members of the county assembly?
Representation.
Remember,
oversight, yes. And making bylaws.
Now, can we take that to the national parliament? Exactly what you're telling me. Representation, oversight, and?
Making bylaws.
Making laws.
Bylaws.
Yes. Why don't we take that to the national parliament? Why should we have two parliaments in any jurisdiction? If it is National Assembly, let them do the work of oversight, the work of the registration, and every other, assignment that the Constitution gives national parliament. But the county assemblies, now that should come to an end. And again, with my administration, I'm going to reduce on the 47 counties. They are too much. In fact, during Moi's time, we had only 8 development centers, 8 development regions, if I may call it. Let me not run away from that point. Okay. Very important. We had 8 provinces during Moi's time. Okay. Yet, I'm not talking about Moi as a person. I'm talking about
his administration.
Yes, exactly, the institution. So during that time, at least people could feel development. This is the time that we had the district development focus. This is the time that we had even the veterinary officers coming at the villages to check how our livestock is doing. And this is the time that we saw agricultural extension officers working very hard during that time when we had the district development officers that was being coordinated from the 8 provinces of the Republic of Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear Kenyans, it's time to go back to the 8 provinces and make the 8 provinces centers of not politics, but centers of sustainable development in the Republic of Kenya. And that's the structure now that my new administration, my 6th government, will bring into place.
So you realize that one of the most progressive institutions that we realized with our 2010 constitution is devolution.
Yes.
Now, if you want to do away with devolution, or rather reduce it to 8, as you've said it,
yes,
you realize that there's some areas that have been marginalized for some time, and marginalization might even continue with your proposal.
Oh, no. What have we achieved with the 47 counties? We are sending a lot of money to counties every financial year. We must, actually every financial year, governors must crave for more and more money. But is that translating into equitable development that we want to see in the country? Not yet. So some parts of the country, like the northern belt, even some of the coast province, even some parts of Nyanza, some part of even the central Kenya, even with the 47 counties, we have not yet achieved development as expected. So why don't we then reduce on the 47? Do you know how much budget is going to these 47 counties per every financial year? The Auditor General, Nancy Gadungu, can tell you very well what she's going through on matters devolution. And she can tell us very clearly, if the money that we are sending to these counties, whether it is translating into development in these counties. But when we reduce, now look at the mathematics behind this, or look at the calculation behind this. We have 47 counties.
Yes.
Every county has a governor, a deputy governor, an executive council of the county,
Executive
county,
committee, yeah.
county public service board, county executive, and county, name it. With all the fleet, with all the machineries, with all the power vehicles, with all the fuels, with all the secretariat and everything, right? Now, the one that I'm proposing, and the one that my sixth government will implement, is 8 provinces.
So you want to reduce from 47 to 8?
From 47 to 8.
Okay.
And then, with my administration, I'm going to oversight to ensure that development is running. Sorry.
No problem. So people, do you realize that people will, how sure are you that people will buy into that they will lose their countiness to some kind of 8 regional development jurisdictions?
You know, people will go for what makes sense. Our Gen Zs are going for what makes sense. What makes sense in this country is that the budget that we are sending to the counties right now, if we are to audit the budget versus sustainable development, you realize that we are sending so much money. What we have done, we have devolved the corruption from the national level. Now corruption is at the county level. Therefore, the money that we are sending to the counties is not equaling to development. And that is why earlier you stated that there are still some counties that are lagging behind on sustainable development. Why don't we have some places with adequate water? Until now, you go to some places in Northeastern, women are still walking more than 20 kilometers, carrying their plastics and their bag to go to look for water. As we talk right now, go to some provinces, go to some regions in this country, and you will find children are walking so many kilometers to access schools or education. Why is it, even with 47 devolution? As we talk right now, you will realize that the energy, we had what we call the rural electrification. Until now, we have some places in this republic, since 1963, that are using lantern, or are using candle, or are using firewood to lighten themselves. They are not yet connected to the national grid. So what we need in Kenya, basically, is to reduce on politics and reduce on all political positions. Focus on development and increase on funds that are supposed to go to development. As we talk right now, our budget goes towards individuals, salaries, remunerations, wages, commissions, recurrent expenditure, instead of the budget, the big chunk of the budget, going towards water. Classrooms, I can't wait to see, my friend, I can't wait to see children in classrooms in this school and decent classrooms countrywide. I can't wait to see the dream of His Excellency, the former Mwai Kibaki president, of free primary, free secondary, free university education coming true. And that is why you see, I'm not shying away from saying that my administration will ensure education is free. Any government, the beauty and the most progressive legacy that any government can leave to its Kenyans is when our children and our population is entirely educated.
Hold it right there, Ambassador Esther. That is Ambassador Esther Waringa with us in studio, sharing her insights and thoughts and why she wants to be president. She's very radical, by the way. We're taking a quick break here at the Insights at GBS Television. I am still Emmanuel Ouma. We'll be right back after this break.
We are going to go straight to the topic of the day, which is AI in education. AI in education.
AI is called artificial intelligence. I think this is something that computer techs designed to make our life easier.
If you just write everything that's on ChatGPT, when you're going to your work or whatever you want to do, your interview, you're going to feel miserable.
We are going to use AI to show out your creativity. Then that's not really you who did it, but like there's AI and there's you combined together.
AI should be just there to maybe enhance your points, but not just to generate for you the answers.
I think it's like 50-50 because sometimes it's like yeah, you're just using it to like enhance like your creativity, and then other times it's like you're just stealing other people's ideas. You're not like really thinking.
Vincent was critical about this painting and referred to it as a failure in some of the letters he sent to his brother Theo. What is black when it's clean and white when it's dirty? Who's your fashion icon?
My fashion icon. Julia Sunday ilibamba.
Yes, Julia was the best.
It was the best. And the new Mr. Ruru is tag, nakumbuka my tag was tag number 16.
Yes.
Akasema the new Mr. Ruru is tag number 16.
The favorite Kenyan meal. Welcome to Fun Dance Class.
Today we will continue learning about Jingle Bell Rock. Friends, first you cross your arm and put it on top of your head, and as you go in left side, you open it, then you come back to your place.
And then you make your leg 90 degrees, and then as you put your legs until 90 degrees, you need to jump a bit. 1, 2. Then as you jump a bit, you need to stretch your hands downwards.
Welcome to
Fun
Dance Class. Today we will continue learning about Jingle Bell Rock. Friends, first you cross your arm and put it on top of your head, and as you go in left side, you open it, then you come back to your place.
And then you make your leg 90 degrees, and then as you put your legs until 90 degrees, you need to jump a bit. 1, 2. Then as you jump a bit, you need to stretch your hands downwards.
Everywhere, GBS.
Well, thank you so much and welcome back to The Insight. I'm still Emmanuel Ouma and I'm here with Ambassador Esther Waringa, who wants to be president. And of course, joining us is Mwalimu Kavins Odoyo Owidi. Thank you so much, Mwalimu, for joining us tonight. And Mwalimu, while you were away, we were speaking, I was speaking to Ambassador Esther, and she proposed that she wants to do away with the general election. I asked her if she wants to be president for life. Do you think that's a good idea?
First of all, we need to know under what circumstances she's doing away with the general election. And then how we are going to achieve what we have been achieving using the general election. I think the world over, the general election is the best way, not that it gives good leaders, but the best way to select leaders among very many competitors. Because the moment that you don't have a general election, I would have liked to get her idea of how she would deal with the leaders we elect in the system, how we will get them, how she would become president without an election.
Because I asked her about that, because if she's elected, why do you want to kick the ladder? and she says that she wants to propose this kind of new, nice commission that will vet leaders. And is that even possible in Kenya, Madam Esther?
Yes, it's very possible. What has a beginning has an end, and I say that democracy has served us since 1963. We cannot keep riding on a system that is failing us every day, and I say that is the biggest reason why the Gen Zs are on the street, because of failure of democracy. And my colleague, my friend, has just said that we do elections, yes, but the elections that not necessarily give us the right readers. So why should we keep on holding on a system that will not give us the right readers? We keep complaining as a country, politicians. Right now, we're talking about politicians not going to churches. Why then don't we embrace a system that will bring or will bar the leaders that then the society will embrace, our development space will embrace? So for him to understand, I've given an example of judiciary.
In 2 minutes,
as
in 1 minute.
In 1 minute. As an arm of government that does not go through elections. For example, the president of the judiciary is never elected. So what I'm proposing a system of vetting and appointment of leaders. Just as we have the Judicial Service Commission that vets and appoints the Chief Justice, why don't we have a commission that will be able to vet and appoint leaders into position of government?
Mr. Odu, do you think that one is a good idea?
Do you know, I'm one of those people who have always said democracy never gives us the right leaders. Because we live in a society where 90% are largely functionally illiterate. For example, when you go to an estate where the children outnumber the adults, and you have to appoint a business to be run within the estate, and the two last ones are a doctor and a grocery seller, the children will vote for the grocery seller, yet they need the doctor more. What we are having in Kenya today, we have seen how the politicians gaslight the people, how propaganda sells in a country, a society where people are largely literate. For example, I had a governor today tell her people that, you know, since 1963, you have never seen this aircraft that came to Homa Bay that overturned in the air and parachutes fall. Have you ever seen them? It is me who has brought them. Now, you are given 12 billion to bring development, and instead of enumerating the development, you are telling them how it was exciting to have military jets flying over and overturning into the air and people falling off them. And they were very excited. And when time came to say another 5 years, they were very excited to say another 5 years on the basis that aircraft came flying overhead. So when we have a society like that, I do agree with Her Excellency, now I should call her so, that sometimes it is necessary to do that. But my suggestion would be, we would have an electoral college. Probably it is even the same as what you're saying. That in this, we will have an electoral college consisting of maybe 10 well-educated people per ward to elect maybe the governor, and per ward to elect maybe the MP. So that when you are working as an MP or as a governor, you know very well that the people oversighting you cannot go with propaganda, you cannot go lying to them, you cannot go cheating them. They know what 12 billion means, they know what 5 billion means, they know what 180 million CDF means and what it is supposed to do. But today, you find a governor goes to the area and he starts counting what they have done. They are saying we have done 20 ECD classrooms. But those ECD classrooms are bid 500 shillings, 500,000. Times 20, what do you get? And that you have billions to do that. So you can do small things, but to poor people, they look big. For a poor person, everything looks expensive. For a rich man, everything looks cheap. But when you have society where people are largely poor, it is very easy to lie to them. It is very easy to sell to them something that is not even your mandate. I know a case where also somebody said, oh, you see, for the last 20 years, we have not even had any ECD classrooms built. But if you look at the Preschool Act, it came in 2021, and that is when the guidelines for who builds them came up. But you, because you know the people don't know, you go and tell them, look, I have built 100 ECD classrooms. Yet since 1963, nobody ever even built them. I am the one who has done them. The people don't know this thing came out the other day. So I agree with Madam Warenga, Her Excellency, that it is sometimes going to be good to do away with the general election. But we can do it in a way in which we have the electors are people who are well informed.
Well informed. Even that's given, and I'm glad you two agree on the same, but differentiate on how to do it. Madam Ambassador here told us that she wants to do away with devolution, or rather scale it down from 47 counties to 8 counties, 8 regional governments.
Correct.
Do you think that's a good idea? Because even Punguza Mizigo initiative came with something like that?
And also during Moist time.
I think, Madam Warenga, me and you should be in the same classroom or WhatsApp group. But my idea was a bit different. But if we take them and put them together to come with something better, I've always thought that devolving government was the wrong thing to do. We should have actually devolved the funds so that the funds go and work for the people. But when you devolve government, because there was corruption in the central government, you have actually devolved that very corruption into the counties. So the counties will be miniature countries, miniature governments, which are as corrupt as the national government or more, because in Kenya people largely concentrate on the corruption at the national level. Yet your governor down here is eating your money to the last cent. You know, we have cases where you find a governor has invested something like 5 billion in the 10 years they have been in office. If you look at what that is percentage to the budget of those counties, even the national government can't take such a high percentage in form of corruption to one person. So I think what we need to do also, Madam Warenga, is consider reducing the number of counties, as you have suggested, because imagine if you have 900 working for, say, Kisumu County, 900 working for Siaya, another 900 are working for Kakamega. If those were combined into one county, it will be 900 working for all of them. And you will have actually reduced corruption by about a third. And the money will now do bigger things. Because we spend a lot of money on recurrent expenditure. I always like to use Homa Bay as an example, because I come from there and I know details.
Yes.
Homa Bay, for example, now has a budget of 12 billion and recurrent expenditure is 8 billion and development is 4. Look at that. We are using 8 billion to manage 4 billion. If we had combined this with another county, recurrent expenditure would just still be around there.
Oh, yes.
Because we will not have 2 CECs, we would not have 2 accountants for the same department, and so on. And their movements will rather, more or less be the same. So in the end, we will cut down on very serious costs. Though I would have liked us to devolve funds instead of devolving government. But again, when funds is a bit too big, again, as mere committee like those ones we used to have as councillors, or the CDF committees may not manage it. So a government would be necessary. So, Madam Warenga, that is one other place that I fall in your trap.
Wow, beautiful. I think we should listen to the first clip when I was here, because I exactly said what he is saying.
Yeah.
That we have devolved corruption. Secondly, we should reduce on the, I gave you an example of how each of the 47 counties have their own county executives, their deputy governors, their offices, their fuel guzzlers, their everything, you know, their secretariat. But with 8 provinces, like when we had during Moist time, they were working very well. And I've just said, when we had the district development focus, when we had extension officers working to their best, this is the kind of system that now we need to bring on board. And we will, because now the cabinet ministers have started coming on board to form the next government that is going to transform this nation.
I want us to take this conversation forward, and in terms of government expenditure, you said that you want to reduce it, and you propose that you want to reduce VAT, value added tax,
Oh, yes, yes.
from 16 to 12%.
10.
From 16 to 10%. Mr. Doyle, if someone reduces VAT from 16 to 10%, and even currently we have a budget deficit, will that budget, of course the budget deficit will blow, but how again will we move forward from that?
You know, me and Madam Moringa, we see the same problems. The only place where we differ is how to solve them.
Strategy, which is okay.
Which is, so because when you begin to solve a society's problem, a nation's problem, people must sit down and share their own thoughts and put their own ideas together. Now, Kenya, as we stand today, we may still have to retain the taxes to sort out the mess that is the foreign debt. I don't know how we're going to do it. But also, where I agree also, when you put disposable incomes in the hands of the people, they are going to make more money and you're going to tax them more elsewhere. What normally happens, which people never realize, that the best business persons are private business persons, not public. That is why you see all the state enterprises, either they collapse or they make losses on end. Actually, when you look at, say, Kenya Airways, the last time it made profit, I think it was once when Kibaki was in power. After that, it never made profit until last year when it made good profit. And so were the sugar millers. The state even used to have hotels. Like in Kisumu, we had Sunset, and I think there's another one there. And they are not making any profit. And when you get in there and look at them, they don't look like hotels. They look like old schools with funny floors, funny furniture, and so on. Because managing public resources is a problem with Kenyans generally. Not even Kenyans, but I think the world over. So the person who needs to be encouraged to do business so that Kenya can tax them to get revenue is the private person. I think the last time I was here, I talked about not taxing beginning businesses. For example, if I want to start a business, and to encourage me, allow me to even register the company for free. Allow me to operate even without taxes or even a license for 3 years. License could only come because of the legality of the business you are doing, but not where you pay. So that the moment you start making money out of that business is when you begin to pay taxes because you are doing a business. I have not even started. I have not even known whether I'm going to succeed. Probably I'm even struggling to raise capital, and you're already here taxing me year in, year out. So I think if we embrace such things, we will have a society where there is enough money for everyone. So coming again to Madam Moringa, I think we agree on the problem, but we can discuss the solution.
Absolutely.
That's absolutely good.
Yes.
Mr. Doyle, do you think we are overrepresented?
In this country?
Yeah.
We need to compare that with other countries, but for me, I think we are also overrepresented. There are some very small constituencies. And the way we have our constitutions, I think they are going to be increased. Considering also the role of members of parliament, we can do with much less than we have. But the worst overrepresentation are in counties. Do you know, if you have a county like, say, Homa Bay, it has 40 wards. If you elect all men in those wards, you must nominate enough number of women to make a third. So what is a third of 40? A third of 40 is something close to 15.
15, yeah, thereabout.
Yes. So that is what you must nominate to, you get the 2/3 gender rule. So that is overrepresented. And you see some of the people being nominated, you find they can hardly write their own names correctly twice. There was a scenario where I saw an MCA removing her ID to copy her own name. That is how bad it is. So this is a person who is supposed to debate in the county assembly in English language.
Yes.
And that is not all. To read and understand reports and go and act on them. To read and understand documents, to go and debate with them. No, it is no longer that way. These days, the people who ensure that you get elected, who are not the electorate themselves, want people who can talk to the electorate to vote for them. So they just get anybody to reward. So I think over-representation is a reality. It is true. National Assembly and even the counties. The Senate, if we do away with some of the counties, they will also come down automatically. And finally, with something which I know you will not ask me, but I want to talk about, is this thing called the Women Rep Office. That office was brought to uplift the ladies, the women, to an extent which they can now compete with men at par. Number one, that should happen. As they sit in office, they should be doing something that will ensure that in the future, the girl child will be able to compete with the boy child at par. For example, in another 10 years, we should expect that if an election is called, the woman and the man should compete without anybody getting favored. But also very important, it is also wrong for you to bring this office as an affirmative action office, which is supposed to jumpstart a woman. Then one woman wants to stay there for 40 years. It is also wrong. We have places where a woman rep has been there since the evolution began, since that, and keep on going. We need, that one is now empowered. Aende apimane nguvu na wanaume. Tulete mwingine. Pia awe empowered. Aende apimane nguvu na wanaume. So until we get the right woman, that if given a jump start, would be able to compete with men. Look at Homa Bay Governor. She was given the women rep position. She left it after 2 years, though I would have expected to leave it in one term. Now she has competed and beaten men. That is what we expect. That is the reason why we have that. Madam Morenga.
What's your solution on that?
He has just said exactly that the women rep position. Okay, what's your question? Sorry.
What is your solution on that? She's talked about we need to reduce the number of MCAs and MPs in terms of our representation. Do you share the same view?
Yes, definitely. I had said earlier that I share the same view that we must reduce on the wage bill. And the wage bill is as a result of over-representation. We don't need the offices of the MCAs, and I said that the registration, the oversight and representation can be undertaken or can be centralized under the National Assembly. So we can be able to comfortably as a country do away with MCAs. Secondly, I asked Arya, what is the job description of any woman rep in the Republic of Kenya? What is the job description? So again, and I also talked about reducing the governors, the 47 to 8, the 47 counties to 8 regions. So that's, you can imagine how much money is that would now not go to individuals, but will be channeled towards national development. Because as we talk right now, we are on a 4 trillion budget. But on that budget, how much is development budget? How much? Okay, in mathematics terminologies, how much is development fund compared to recurrent expenditure? The recurrent expenditure is way high compared to development. That is not the way to run government. And that is why the economy is going down every day, because we are not able to balance as a country. Yeah.
Now, I want to let us go on, because the question of good governance, especially in public leadership, is very important.
Very.
And in one of your meetings, you did say that you want to exercise accountability, responsibility, integrity, and transparency. Do you believe that the current government is doing the same?
I want to believe that there is a gap that is existing right now.
And where's the gap?
Because, yes, that's where I'm headed. There is a big gap that is existing on matters accountability. Because first of all, if I may talk about the national budget, why should we have a budget with a deficit and then we start borrowing? That is one thing. Accountability demands that you, as a father of a family, you must have a budget. President keeps on saying that let us live within our means. So even about the national budget, let us have a budget that is within our means, so that we don't become irresponsible as a country and continue borrowing. Borrowing now at 11 trillion? No, we are not doing well as an economy. And that is why responsibility comes in. Secondly, corruption decapitation. Corruption has technically eaten into each and every sector of this country. That I buy this pen, you must add 2-3 shillings that you're supposed to put in your pocket. Where is the EACC? We would want to see these agencies of government, and I see them moving. I think they are doing well. They are moving slowly by slowly. Getting into the other day. Yes, we saw them the other day, and they did a prayer to His Excellency the President. But I must tell the EACC that a prayer is not enough. A prayer to God is good, but we also have our own individual responsibility to ensure that we are fully accountable on every coin that is paid as taxes in this country. So the other thing is that as a country, we must get to know what do we prioritize in terms of development. Because if this country, and I had said earlier, since 1963, I visit Turkana today, and I find women sitting under trees waiting for Kenya Red Cross to donate them maize. Since 1963 to date, something is wrong. That negates good governance. That negates the aspect of accountability and responsibility of government. Yet since 1963, Kenyans have been paying taxes. But why do we have, until now, women sitting under trees waiting for Kenya Red Cross to bring food in Turkana? Secondly, why until now in the northern belt, Moyale, Turkana, Wajir, still women are walking more than 20 kilometers carrying jerrycans to look for water? So what is lacking? Equitable development. Do we have resources? Yes, we have resources sent to these counties. Accountability, that is the biggest question. In fact, when devolution came into being, I asked, where is the oversight authorities over the county development fund? We are sending so much money to the counties, but do we have an authority that
MCS.
oversight?
MCS.
Are they the MCS that my brother has just talked about? Are these the people who are supposed to oversight?
Yeah, they are.
Our fund that goes to the counties?
Yes, they are.
Now, bottom line is you can see that our system is failing us, because I was doing a Kenya Bila Uchaguzi forum in Muranga. And as I was explaining to them how we would want to birth governments through vetting and appointment, no longer going to elections. Because elections, you are the best person to do propaganda in this country, then you'll be elected.
Okay.
If you don't know, let me finish on that one, because I'm talking to the voters, we are headed to an election. If
Just
you don't know how to do propaganda,
just hold on. I want Mwalimu to come in on that issue of accountability and good governance. Okay. Mwalimu, you have been a very good friend of the current government, and you champion it a lot. Ambassador here says there's a gap in terms of good governance. Do you share the same opinion?
You know, governance is available at county level and also at national level.
Yes.
Something happened to this country way back when we got the new constitution that came with it an independent judiciary, that came with it an independent police service, and multiple independent commissions to solve our problems.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we grew up to this level, still carrying the old mentality that the president is all-powerful and can do everything. That is where we find ourselves in, that there is a case that should be strictly handled by the judiciary, and you see we are petitioning the president and even threatening to go to the streets. There's a case that should be handled by IEBC, then we still threaten the presidents and want to go to the streets. Even those that are crimes committed by the police. You know, today, if you are the principal of a school or the vice chancellor of a university, and a student or a lecturer commits a crime within, that is not your responsibility. He must take responsibility as an individual. But nationally, every mistake committed by members of the public, civil servants, all of it you want to heap in on the president. In fact, incidentally today, even those that took place before the president came to power, like joblessness in this country, we want him either to solve it overnight or he takes the responsibility and go home. And the problem we have in a society like ours.
But he's the CEO, right, of the country?
Of course he's the CEO.
Yes.
He can take responsibility for doing it, for not what has been done by people who are not him. If you see him punish those who have committed crimes and you still want him to go home because those crimes were committed, I think that is not very fair.
But Mr. Dale, when you see a developed democracy, for example, the United Kingdom, the United States of America, if, for example, you are a minister or you are cabinet secretary and something happens in your docket that tarnishes the name of the docket, you resign.
You resign if you had not put policies that are correct to that. If there is nobody else who can be held accountable for that mistake, then you resign. But if there is somebody who has committed that mistake, individually and personally, he has to take responsibility. But you remember sometimes we misuse this resigning. There was a time here when President Uhuru Kenyatta was the president and Raila Odinga was the handshake partner. Then there was somebody called the Commissioner of Prisons. A prisoner escaped in committee at night. At 9 a.m., his replacement had arrived in his office, complete with uniform and insignia showing the rank. Do you think that was fair? First of all, you know very well that somebody knew in advance that somebody would escape, so we go and fire the commissioner. He has to resign. A commissioner. How would he even know that there's laxity in committee at that night if it has not been there? So there are times we misuse such. We demand that people resign. There was also a time that there was a problem with the ferry, if I am not wrong. The next day, Uhuru fired the board and the chair, everybody else. Yet, you see, in these things, for example, Kenya Ferry Services is a parastatal.
Yes, yes.
There is a board which consists of directors.
Directors.
Then there is the management, which consists of the executive.
Executive.
So the board directs, the executive executes.
Yes.
So if there is a policy already in place and the executors failed, why do you fire the board? So sometimes this thing of resign if things have gone wrong is being misused by people who want others out. And one of such, I believe, if there is any problem, even in Kenya today, let's correct it. Rather than telling people to go home, sometimes you are telling them to go home, and if they tell you, okay, I am going tomorrow, you have no idea who is going to replace them. I had a conversation with the Gen Zs, some 2 of them, and they told me, we are going to have the president go home.
Yeah, so give us the potentials.
And we don't care who is going to replace him. But I said, what about if so-and-so replace him? No, we'll make sure he doesn't. I said, you are incapable of even ensuring who becomes your MCA. You are now telling me how you'll ensure who becomes the president. So that is the problem we have. So let us be a country of order, a country of reconciliation, and a country of getting leaders to account for their actual mistakes.
Under 1 minute, Ambassador Esther, you're saying that you will review our fiscal policy as a country.
Yes.
And in that 1 minute, give us your parting shot. Why do you think you are the best person to be elected president come next election?
Very well. In the Republic of Kenya, after every 5 years, Kenya goes to elections to determine their leader. And I must say that after 5 years, whatever President Ruto will have done, it will be equally beautiful for Kenya to have the first woman president, that is one, and of course a president who will be able to bring the first partyless government, because I'm an independent candidate. I would wish to see a country that is united, progressive, and a country that is dynamic, a country that is focused on sustainable development 24/7, other than political party politics. And bottom line, what I would like to see in my upcoming sixth government is good governance realized to its highest potential. Number 2, economic stability. I look forward to a country where everybody is able to be able to realize what they need to in terms of financial capability. Number 3, social justice for all of us all, regardless of race, regardless of region, regardless of tribe, regardless of ethnicity.
Right.
Together we can as a nation, and we will.
All right, no problem.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Doyo, before, under 1 minute, what is your view in what Her Excellency wants to
Ambassador is my candidate for 6th president. The only difference is that 6th president will have to come in 2032 for 2 reasons. Reason number 1, I have heard her say she will become a president who is partyless. Let me tell you, if you attempt to become a president who is partyless in this country at this point in time, where people can gang up against you communally or partily to remove you out of office with maandamano and with impeachment and many other things, they will not even let you pass a bill in parliament. So you must have your people. That is why when somebody becomes the president, the first thing he wants to ensure that he has majority in parliament. Because there are too many people of ill will. There are too many people who believe it is only them who should govern this country. They will gang up against you. Today, the gang up against President William Ruto has nothing to do with his performance. It has everything to do with what they think is outside the people who are supposed to be president. It's not a pedigree to be president. That is what is happening. Because if you compare what is doing and with what the past presidents do, you find some of those people did even worse things. So, Madam Waringa, you are my candidate for the 6th president, but in 2032.
All right.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, it's going to happen, not in 2032.
Okay, no.
We are committed to form the first non-elected, I mean not non-elected, but partyless government, 2027. And it will happen.
Okay.
For all that is impossible is very possible.
Thank you so much. That is Ambassador Esther Waringa,
yes.
Who wants to vie, by the way, for president in the coming election. And we have Mr. Odoyo Widi, a political analyst and a very fiery defender of the president and a regular commentator over the same. My name is Emmanuel Oma. This has been The Insight. See you again next week, same time, same day. Good evening.